Hey guys, Rory Jackson here. My in-game name is Depph. I play for the XSET Valorant team right now, and today I'm here to host Nerf or Buff. So the premise behind Nerf or Buff, basically I'm getting topics thrown at me and I'm going to choose if I want to buff it or nerf it. Buffing means that I love it personally or I feel like it should be buffed, and nerf is the opposite of that, where I'm probably going to dislike it. So let's hope we have a lot of buffs today. So the first topic is EU Valorant. I know NA and EU is a big topic right now that everyone's talking about, but I definitely feel like NA have had the early success of a lot of the CS players coming over slightly earlier than the EU guys. So it's going to be really interesting for Valorant in the next few years, and some of the EU CS players kind of sliding over and how that meta takes that. But I love the rivalry. I hope it keeps up. Like every time there's going to be an international tournament, it's really hype right now. So hopefully that rivalry stays. So obviously this is a buff for me too. Subway sandwiches. Subway is honestly the lowest tier sandwich place you can ever go to. In any country, anywhere in the world, stop ordering Subway. It's bad. It's franchise bad. Sorry if anyone's sponsored by it, or well, hopefully we're not sponsored by it, but that's definitely a nerf in my book. Jake Paul. I don't know what to say about Jake Paul really. They're pretty famous. They're kind of the new wave of entertainment, I guess. Definitely have a few bad things to say about it, but I also know he's just being a businessman and making his bread, you know, so I can't hate it too much. So I'm gonna go with nerf still though, definitely. ASTRA. ASTRA is honestly one of my favorite agents, even after the nerf. I think she's pretty viable on a lot of maps. She's really fun to play. You can kind of have that impact across maps that you don't really have with other agents. So yeah, ASTRA for me is a big buff, and hopefully we can get to her a spot where she fits in the meta, but she's not too obnoxious how she was in the previous patch. Kid CUDI. Kid CUDI is honestly one of my favorite artists. I kind of like how he stays underground slightly. He's not too out there, and obviously every one of his songs is pretty much a banger. So Kid CUDI, without question, is definitely buff. GameStop stock. So GME. Honestly, it's a bit of a meme, but a lot of people made money out of it. But for me personally, I'm not into that kind of stuff, especially the short-term kind of gamble stocks and the crypto. But I mean, I would say buff I was in it, but definitely a nerf from me just because it's not my cup of tea. Guinness beer. So Guinness is supposed to have the most iron out of any beer. My friends at home, especially in England, it's drank like water pretty much. Personally, I don't like the taste too much, so I'm gonna have to go with a nerf for Guinness. Cats. I am a big dog and cat person. I have a cat and a dog. I really love cats. I love how cats are they don't really care about you too much. They kind of do their own thing. I really like that about cats. And we have one called Oliver right now. He's a Russian blue. He's absolutely so chaotic, but we love him to death. So cats are definitely a buff for me. Fish and chips. I knew that I was going to be asked this one. Obviously being English, fish and chips comes up more than pretty much anything else, especially with food. Fish and chips are honestly one of my favorite meals, but I haven't really had one in North America that I thought, damn, this is good fish and chips. So I say nerf in America and buff in Britain. IGL Valorant. Coming from an in-game lead role in CS, I definitely think Valorant is way more taxing, just because you don't have to think about just grenades and positioning. It's mainly every agent has specific roles and abilities, so you have to factor in that too. And honestly, it's just the words per minute that you can fit in around. Like sometimes I realize I have to just take the foot off the gas a little bit and let people do their own things, and that's kind of been success for me. So I'd say in-game Valorant really difficult, but it's definitely a buff in terms of how I like approaching it. Dallas Cowboys. So I don't know if I'll get in trouble saying this, but my previous team got bought out by the Dallas Cowboys. So I got to actually meet some of the players there and some of the staff, and truly a great experience. But it also became one of my favorite teams, one of my favorite NFL teams. So Dallas Cowboys definitely, in my eyes, is a buff. CSGO was my love for many years. I really enjoyed the game. Making the switch over to Valorant, completely different with meta changes and stuff. But for me, CSGO, the prime principles of CSGO are a huge buff. But the way that the game is managed is more of a nerf for me. So I'm very torn between this topic. ICEBOX. So when ICEBOX originally came out, I thought, wow, this map is massive, and I didn't see how it was going to have fluid gameplay like the other maps. But now that we've had ICEBOX and Breeze, I feel like ICEBOX is one of my favorite maps. It's definitely one of the maps I like calling on the most, and it allows for a lot of options across the map. And I like the rotates are slightly slower and less agents are clumped up at the same time. So ICEBOX for me is definitely a buff. I really enjoy the map. So barbecue in Austin, Texas. I didn't get to try too much whilst I've been here, especially as like everything is queued out the wazoo. Like you have to wait, you have to get up 6:30 in the morning to go to some of these barbecue places. But I heard it's amazing, and I know that Dallas barbecue is really good too. So I assume, this is an assumption, but I assume Austin barbecue is definitely a buff. JETT's another one of those where it always gets mentioned in an interview, or always gets mentioned in some sort of content. I think we've talked about JETT enough right now, but I'm glad that they brought the AUP price down, the operator price down. I'm kind of glad they made her smokes more expensive in the latest patch. And I also like that the only operator agent in the game is still in meta. So I think they're doing a really good job with her. I could complain all the time about her, but she's fitting in pretty nice right now. So I'd say JETT is a buff. So WHATABURGER, I used to love this place. If I was in Dallas, I'd always get WHATABURGER, put on a ton of weight. But there's a place in Austin called Sandy's, and imagine every time you had a WHATABURGER, it was fresh hot. That's pretty much what Sandy's is. So Sandy's has taken over my love for WHATABURGER. So sadly, I've got to say this, but WHATABURGER is now a nerf. Thank you guys for tuning in for my episode of Nerf or Buff. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you like and subscribe because there's future Nerf or Buff episodes coming out with different content creators. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and see you later. Thank you.